representatives from Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security, China as a host for the event. I remember meeting Honorable Vice Minister Geng Wei King in Brussels for the World Social Security Forum 2019. Together with my former minister, I'm happy to rejoin with my colleague in China for today's session. My respects to fellow practitioners and experts from varying countries, including Sweden, Spain, Canada, for this session. Today, I would like to share Malaysian experience in administering and implementing work injury protection for platform workers. And I'll run through the agenda of discussion today. I'll cover 5 areas throughout this presentation. I'll start with the background of self-employed social security scheme in Malaysia. Following that, I'll just share some key statistics and information from our implementation since 2017. I will also highlight the several implementation challenges in implementing the self-employed social security scheme. Fourth, I will share some successful initiatives that PKSO or SOCSO has successfully implemented. Last but not least, before I end, I'll give some insight on PKSO's way forward to ensure adequate and sustainable protection for all platform workers in Malaysia. Let me start with this slide on the background of self-employed coverage in Malaysia. Referring to the left side of the chart, the total number of self-employed grew from 1.95 million workers in 2010 to 2.86 million workers in 2018, where the share of self-employed is now about 20% of the labor workforce in Malaysia. Before June 2017, the self-employed are not protected in Malaysia because there's no employer-employer relationship. Realizing in the drastic shift in workers towards self-employment where there is no protection, PKSO established Act 789 in 2017, mandating PKSO to cover the self-employed. First, piloted the self-employed scheme with the transport sector, which include the taxi and e-hailing drivers in 2017 when the Act started. Following that, extended to all self-employed by covering the other 19 sectors for informal sectors in Malaysia in 2020. And following that, we have designed incentive schemes through matching contribution to increase participation or take up throughout the pandemic COVID-19. Following the strong push in promotion and incentives program, PKSO is able to grow our coverage from 2,338 active workers in 2017 to 138,005 in 2021, where 54% of them are platform workers. However, total registered self-employed with SOCSO is only about 5% of total self-employed in Malaysia, or about 18.63% of total platform workers estimated to be active in Malaysia. The contribution rate is at about 1.25% of the insured person income, which plan available at 4 different categories of salary scheme. The minimum required contribution under the lowest plan is as low as 44 cents a day. Besides that, PKSO benefits claim experience for platform workers are different from those in formal sector. Out of 655 work injury claims, none were reported to be related to occupational disease. And average claim under the scheme are of age 48, which is much older than those in the formal sector under the Act 4, which is age of about 38. While it may mean shorter, smaller liability for long-term payments, but the beneficiaries may also be less motivated for rehabilitation and return to work. In total, we have disbursed about RM 3 million ringgit to eligible benefits recipient, where long-term liabilities have accumulated to about 17.6 million ringgit. There are 4 main implementation challenges. Not everything is rosy, but we do face challenges in implementing this scheme. First, due to the nature of work, platform workers have fluctuating income based on demand for micro work. Hence, most do not contribute consistently. Second, in Malaysia, there's no centralized database for platform workers, which limits SOCSO's administrative capacity to protect them. We find duplicated data across various platforms like Grab and Foodpanda. Some platform workers are also not identified because they work for international platforms such as Facebook or YouTube, where data is less accessible. Third, platform in Malaysia almost never contribute on behalf of the platform workers. These workers are burdened to cover their own contribution for coverage. Fourth, platform workers are also not protected under other branches of Social Security, i.e. the Employment Act or Occupational Safety and Health Act. Available for formal workers, other protection for workers complement Pekeso Social Security Service in work injury. For example, without OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Act coverage, preventive activities for workers are limited to only SOCSO's prevention campaign efforts. Looking forward, Pekeso has developed innovative approaches to ensure continuous coverage. Industry leaders such as regulators or workers' associations are identified as corporate agents to promote the self-employed social security scheme. With each registration, the corporate agents can earn 5% of the contribution as an incentive to continue extending coverage. We also leveraging on their network in the industry, which SOCSO can penetrate platform workers at the community grassroots levels. Considering that demand for gig platform work has increased throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, SOCSO worked with the federal government to design a matching contribution scheme under the announced stimulus package. The matching contribution is targeted to selected self-employed in Malaysia, namely the gig or platform workers at a 70-30 ratio, and the gig riders and public sector volunteers at 100% ratios, which 100% comes from the government. And last but not least, for women entrepreneurs is also at 70-30 ratio, which 70% contribution come from the government and 30% from the women entrepreneurs. Altogether, we were able to register about 80,681 under the self-employed social security scheme, of which majority are platform workers. Moving forward, Pekeso is shifting from voluntary to mandatory. For example, we have started with transportation and logistics sectors coverage. Now, SOCSO is exploring automatic upon registration or renewal of administrative licenses. We're also looking to encourage portable career pathways across formal and platform economy entrepreneurial, which SOCSO must extend employment insurance and employment services to all workers, including platform workers. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, the self-employed are excluded from most active labor market programs, i.e. hiring incentive and wage subsidy. In keeping up with their nature of work, SOCSO is exploring potentially changing contribution collection from income declaration to collections from transacted tasks, for example, for the micro work. The initiative further integration and linkages with active platform in Malaysia. So in conclusion, I would like to emphasize that protection is for all. I will end the presentation with the word EPIC as a summary. E stands for enhanced legislation to keep up with the changing nature of work. P, to promote collaboration with industry leaders to educate and extend protection at the grassroots level. I, invest in technology that commensurate with the local digital platforms. C, cover the workers beyond work injury. We must also advocate for other branches of protection, i.e. the OSHA or minimum wage, to ensure adequate coverage.